Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie from Healing Voices Network on YouTube and a provider at Internal Alignments Healing Arts. And here we are for our 2025 Spotlight Series. And today I have my friend Shandra with me, and we're going to talk about Dark Nights of the Soul. So, first, I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Chandra. I am the owner of Mystical Alchemy and the Mystical Alchemy podcast. I am a spiritual midwife, mystic shaman, and I consider myself to be a alchemist. And I'm just really excited to be here with you, Jamie, and get to talk about that Dark Nights of the Soul.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's such a cool concept, but also it's super challenging because I think we all go through it at
Mhm.
some point. But when you're very intuitive or looking at the big picture, you can feel it so much more tangibly.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we have more than just one, too. Everyone has this idea of, oh, you have one dark night of the soul, and it's this massive thing. And it's like, no, we have
Mhm.
little ones, too. And throughout our entire lifetime, you can have, hundreds, and you may not even recognize them all. But anytime you have a transformation,
Yeah,
that's a little bit of a dark night.
it's true. And they can last, years or days
Hmm.
too. Because I've had some where I'm just like, so completely rattled and agitated. And then 3, 4 days later, it's a whole different feeling.
Yeah, I 100% can understand that.
Yeah,
I kind of correlate it too to like possible timeline shifts, like as we're healing and going through
right,
things, like we're collapsing what isn't working and we're stepping onto what will.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it is a stepping stones, a
Hmm.
ladder, whatever you want to call it. It is that, but
Yeah.
the destructive phase
Hmm.
has to happen
Always.
always.
Yeah.
And, as all of us know right now, societally, we are in a dark night. But today we're going to kind of more focus on the individual dark night. But just if you guys are wondering out there, what the hell's going on with the world? It's a dark night of the soul for the earth. And
Yep.
it won't last, I promise. It's temporary.
As they always are, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to completely like it's like the tower card. You have to
Yeah.
let what's no longer working crumble so that you can sift through the rubble and see, okay, this works, this doesn't. Let's start over and build a new foundation.
Correct. Correct. So, so what a real dark night of the soul is about a transformation. It's triggered by some sort of huge life event or existential crisis where you really start like questioning yourself, who you are, your identity, what's my purpose. The beliefs I had yesterday are not the same today, and now I'm dealing with these like serious challenges, whether it's environmental, money, people, all of the above.
Mhm.
But it's really the intensity of it is is I don't know even the right word for it.
Well, it's like a complete deconstruction because of the intensity. So it's like you literally could one day be on this path towards a certain outcome, and then it's like it's almost like your fingers snap and like everything just shifts, and you're like, wait a minute, is this even what I was supposed to be doing? Does this even feel aligned anymore?
Yeah. And then not only that, it's like on top of that, now you're questioning reality.
Oh,
And that's a whole existential crisis in itself.
yeah. Yes. Yeah. It
And
really is.
yeah, and then you have people who start questioning your reality, so you believe them, which just deepens the crisis.
Yeah.
And then there's this sense of just like the best I can call it is like an emptiness
Hmm.
or a vacuum within you.
Hmm.
You feel this like just if you look inwards, all you see is darkness. There's
Hmm.
no light, there's nothing
Yeah.
there. And there's that, I call it the nothing less or none thing less.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. There's nothing there. And it takes a while for us to remember that. Oh, that's purposeful, right?
Yes. Yeah. I like to call it a void.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's that time. And if you kind of look at it from a like a seasonal thing too, it's like when we go through into the winter, in order
Hmm.
to, you've planted the seeds in the fall, and then you're in the winter, and you've got to let them have darkness to grow, because some seeds need to be planted in that
Hmm.
darkness. So you have to have that void. And before that, and it's also like when you're giving birth, it's like that sense of, it starts from nothing and then it expands, and now all of a sudden it's like something is coming from that, and then you
Yeah.
give birth, and it's this whole process of going from absolute nothing and like the lack of matter to all of a sudden you've created something new.
Hmm. It's so true. The challenges, though, are just can be intense and surprising.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that when I've gone through mine, it's like, whoa, I was not ready for this. This is just
Mm-hmm.
completely, holy crap, I was not ready.
Yeah.
How do I deal? How do I live with this?
Mm-hmm.
And then the emotions get crazy, the physical, the relationships you've had before, it's like bridges can be burned or they can grow. It could be a lot of different things.
Really, that's so true. And it's interesting because like I think of the times when we may say, "Oh, I want this thing." And when we say we want something and it isn't in alignment with where we're currently at, all of a sudden we might start to get like that dark night energy, and we're moving through it, and we get like halfway through and we're like, "Oh no, this isn't what I wanted. I didn't want to lose this. I didn't want to lose that." And it's like, well, you asked for this. And
Right.
so like some part of your soul wants this, and your human body isn't comfortable with all of the deconstruction and the loss. And it's like, no, 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 I want to hold on to that because it's
Yeah.
comfortable and it's what I want. And then you're like,
And
you
that's where the
can't.
deep, deep grief comes. And
Yes.
it's not just grieving for the things outside of you. You start grieving for yourself, your old
Yes.
self,
Yes.
and what dreams never came to pass, what
Yeah.
doors never opened, what
Hmm.
XYZ, there's a whole list.
Hmm.
Um, and that's part of the whole dark night
Yeah, it
is
really is.
this identity shift, which
Yeah.
is incredibly transformative.
Hmm.
But and then you have another one and
Yeah.
another one. And yeah,
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like you never really know when it's going to happen either. So you could be moving along and doing great and everything's going fantastic. And then all of a sudden it's like you feel like you're just thrown off a cliff and you're like, I don't know how to fly.
right. Why didn't someone build me wings? and
Right?
and that's another part of it is like recognizing how much we've actually relied on others or
Mm,
our
hmm.
outside circumstances or
Yes.
letting the static of life
Yeah.
dictate our identity.
Yeah.
And then we start questioning that, and that's part of the reality breakdown.
So true.
So uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, because we aren't taught how to live in discomfort. Like
Right.
even if we are living in discomfort, it becomes comfortable for us. So then
Yeah.
anything different, we're like, no, I don't want to go that. I remember what it's like to be uncomfortable, and I don't want to be uncomfortable.
Right. We normalize it.
Hmm.
And our society does normalize it, as if, or maybe it's just human nature, the conditioning of human nature, and how free will is built into that,
Hmm.
has taught us just normalize the shit.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You normalize it, you accept it, that's what life is. But it's really not.
It's not. It's so funny because when I talk to people and I like ask them what, tell me about your life, and they start to tell me things, and I from a standpoint where I'm at, I'm like, oh my God, it's insanely like chaotic, and there's so much shit you lived in. They're like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not nothing. If you ask anybody else, like they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, what? That's insane that you've gone through that. But we've become, like you said, we normalize it, and it's like it. We have to get to that point where we realize, oh, maybe that isn't actually normal, and
Right.
that's why dark nights are so great, because you can be like, oh, wow, I can deconstruct now and see that really
Hmm.
wasn't healthy, or that wasn't normal. And I, I can see
Just
it now.
yeah. Yeah, the seeing part, I think that's the big catalyst for the ones I've been through is
Hmm.
opening my eyes to it, and then the grief and the pain and the intensity of the struggle to um let go.
Hmm.
That's like the big transformative moment is when
Hmm.
you finally just let go and let things be,
Hmm.
including yourself. That's when the light starts coming back in.
Yes. I had this meme that I shared some years back when I was going through my coaching training, and it was of someone holding a rope in both their hands, and their hands were bloody, and
Yeah.
it said "Let go or be dragged."
Yeah.
And it's like, and you could say it was them opening up their hands to being like, "Oh, I really this is hurting me, and I can't
Hmm.
keep holding on." And yet, so many of us want to hold on because we don't want to let go of that thing or that person or that relationship
Hmm.
or whatever it is. And yet we don't realize how much it's actually hurting us to hold on to it because it's not in alignment with us anymore.
No, not at all. And that's those external stuff where internally the reason or kind of some core reasons we keep holding on is because we've been taught that we have less worth than we do, or we've been neglected throughout time. We've been abandoned, we've been betrayed, but that's all normalized
Mhm.
because, yeah, it happened to me, but everyone has been betrayed, abandoned, felt worthless at times.
Mhm.
And but opening the eyes to it is that takes bravery.
It really does. Yeah.
Mm,
It takes bravery and it takes the willingness to sit in the discomfort and like allow yourself to lean into it and then move
mm-hmm,
through it.
mm-hmm. That's the hard part. I have had a couple clients start a dark night and then they turn their
Yes.
back.
Uh-huh.
So it is a possibility. If you're not deep into it, if it just starts and you turn your back and not look at it, later on, that same situation is going to happen.
Hmm.
That same dark night of the soul is going to
Hmm.
trigger that. Basically, life is going to dictate that, yes, you are going to go through that.
Hmm.
Just when do you want to do it?
Well, and if you turn your back on it the first time, it's going to be that much more challenging the second
Yes.
because you already were like resistant to it and you like are like doubling down on that resistance. And it's like, no, okay, so you aren't willing to do the thing. We're going to have to make it that much more challenging for you because we
Yes.
have to push you to be so uncomfortable with where you're at that you're willing to say, you know what, fine, I'll just make the change and I'll go with it and I'll lean into it. But there's a lot of people that don't want to acknowledge it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. So, can you kind of describe or tell us about one or two of your dark nights?
Yeah, so I mean, I had a huge one about 11 years ago when I had a brain injury and I forgot the life that I had before, and I had to learn to read and write and walk and talk and all of the things again. However, I that one took many years to get through. And when I
Mm,
got through it, and that's what led me on the path of being a shaman, doing the Reiki work that I do, all the different modalities I practice. I was excited and I had felt like I finally was at the top of the hill and I crested it and I was like, I got through it. And then all of a sudden, I remembered everything that I had
mm,
lost. And that started this next one. And that was about 4.5, 5 years ago. It was right in the middle of COVID. And that
mm-hmm.
really, that when I started that dark night in the middle of COVID, which a lot of people went through dark nights
Yeah.
because of COVID, um, I didn't realize where I would end up. And I when I moved here and I started to feel disconnected from the life that I had built for myself, and I was like, is this really in alignment?
Mm,
The person I was with, I was like, is this really like, is this the right thing for me? And slowly over the course of a couple of years, like my life literally imploded, and it was like the life that I had created that I thought that I was going to have, like you had said,
yeah.
like those dreams, those desires, the everything. I didn't see that anymore. It just fell apart overnight. It
Yeah.
felt like, and so I spent the last. I think it culminated in last year when I ended up having some health challenges, and I remembered all of that time. I started to integrate the things that I had gone through, and I realized the life that I had recreated for myself also wasn't
Mm-hmm.
where I was meant to be. So the life that I created after my accident and then the life I created once I remembered, they neither one of them fit.
No.
And I was like, okay, wait a minute. Then who am I? And
Mm-hmm.
I literally remember sitting down. It was probably last April, right after I was finally started to be seen that I might have ADHD and autism. And I was like starting to do the unmasking work. And I kind of sat and I remember sitting in my apartment. I was just crying. Like, and I said to the universe, I don't even know who I am. Who
Mm-hmm.
am I? And I just kept saying it over. Who am I? Who am I? And it was funny because at that same time, I was actually doing like a meditation challenge with a individual. His name is David G. He's a
Mm-hmm.
meditation teacher, and it was a "Who am I?" challenge. And
Mm-hmm.
it realized that like it started me on this journey of like deconstructing all of the things that I thought I knew about myself, especially as I had found out that I was autistic and ADHD. Being neurodivergent, I was like, all these years I've been wearing, I mean, 41 years I've been wearing a mask.
Right.
And it's like, okay, now I got to figure out who I am without the mask. And so
Mm-hmm.
I spent about 14 months really deconstructing the mask, deconstructing my life, realizing that even the schooling where the program I was in, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Spent all
Mm-hmm.
this time and energy, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
And it was like, okay, so what do we do instead? And it was like, I the interesting thing is that I was really afraid that I wouldn't be able to find my way through it financially, and yet I was able to for 14 months not work and really like lean into who am I? What do I want to do with my life? Now that I know that my relationship is over, now that I know that the life that I created is gone, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And it was I had this moment, and it's funny because it was an existential crisis. It was like, what, well, if I don't know myself, how am I supposed to move forward? What's the next step?
Yeah.
And it was that void energy that we spoke about. It was like, you know what, get quiet and just listen.
That's all you can really do. I resonate with the question of who am I? Because during mine had a tendency to be around um, certain relationships, housing, money, and all
Mhm,
that,
mhm,
um, which it all somehow the universe kept constantly taking care of me, and I had to
mhm.
remind myself I'm good, my needs are taken care of, and so now I have the space to figure out who am I. But my question constantly that I throw out is, what do I do? What do I do? I'd be crying and going, what do I do?
Mhm. Yeah.
And um and you're right, you do have to just stop and listen
Mhm.
um to yourself,
Yeah.
really, especially body.
Yeah.
The body tells
Mhm.
us so
Oh,
much.
yes, it does.
Um and then you start feeling a pull, or at least I did start
Mhm.
feeling a pull to do
Mhm.
something else,
Yeah.
or sometimes it felt like my voice was talking for me,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
which sometimes totally sucked
Yeah.
because I'm like, shit, I just put myself in this really messed up situation.
Yep.
But apparently that's part of the collapsing framework.
Mhm. Yep.
It's like you can't collapse a framework without it being front and center
Yeah.
and knowing what needs to be collapsed.
Yes. Yeah. And your question about what do I do? That was something that I realized like I had to literally lean into and let go and acknowledge all these parts of myself that I had been holding on to for so long and say, what do I do with them?
Mm-hmm.
Are they still serving me? You know, am I really like I'll be honest, I really questioned doing the work that I do. Like I was like, maybe I'm not even meant to be in this field. Like maybe I'm not supposed to be doing spiritual work. Maybe it was just a fluke for a period of time until I found the life that I was supposed to live, and then that life fell apart. And how is this, or is this even really what I'm supposed to do then?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, I don't know. And that's the beauty of it though, because then
Right.
from that space of I don't know, we get to start like trying
Mhm.
things on and seeing,
That's
oh, is this
true.
going to work? Is that going to work? No, that didn't work. Okay, move on to the next.
That's so true. The trying things on, I think that's a great term for it because that emptiness you feel, that void,
Hmm.
it is a space to be filled back up. It takes us a little bit to remember,
Hmm.
letting go of those reins, letting go of
Hmm.
that rope.
Yeah.
Then, oh God, okay, now I can heal my hands
Hmm.
and pick something up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm picking up a hobby. I'm picking up a new career
Hmm.
and filling yourself back up.
Yeah.
And then, but the only way to know what you like is keep trying. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna hit more dead ends than not, and
Yeah.
but that's purposeful
It
too.
is. I mean, I was talking to someone today about failure, and I was like, how do you look at failure? Do you see it as like this horrible thing? And they were like, and it was like, I said to them, failure is just about learning.
Right.
Literally, all it is. It's not like we
Hmm.
we think about failure and we're like, oh, it's such a horrible negative thing. And it's like, no, failure gives us the opportunity to learn what we don't want to do
Right.
and then do something different.
Yeah.
Not all of us do something different. Some of us want to keep repeating that failure because we're
Yeah.
stuck in those patterns. And that's where
Uh-huh.
inner child healing can come in. However,
Right.
really realizing that it's failure is not that we are bad. Failure is, oh, hey, that didn't
Hmm.
work. Let's try something else.
Right. Yeah, like I said, mine were a lot around relationships, and yeah, I did have a hard time because it's like I consciously knew what was going on,
Mhm.
but there's that thing in the back of your head, like, no, no, no. If you hold on, keep going, you know, the law of averages is going to be like, no, 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 and then eventually something changes, and yes.
Yeah.
But it's like I didn't realize that the thing that changed into a yes was me
Hmm.
and coming into myself.
Yeah.
And God, but that was hard because yeah, I did have to keep repeating those challenges,
Hmm.
and they got harder and harder and deeper and deeper. And you really are, you have no choice but to confront yourself.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do, is like have a mirror in front of yourself. And yeah, you can look away from the mirror, but the mirror is always going to be there. And
Hmm.
eventually this mirror is going to be 360 because the
Hmm.
universe is like, dude, no.
Yeah.
We are going to make you look at yourself, how you relate to others, how others relate to you.
Hmm.
And okay, yes, you have the capacity to love, but what is not love?
Yeah.
Is it what you're experiencing?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and that took a little while to recognize. Is like, okay, starting writing a list. What is not love? Oh, it's not being gaslighted.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's not being controlled. It's
Hmm.
not sitting there at a restaurant across from someone and they're flirting with whoever else, and
Yeah.
or speaking about your body in a way that is not your body. It's
Yeah.
like, oh God, okay, he wants something specific. Maybe I can change myself
Right.
to fit
Yes.
that. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, but I like to eat.
Yeah. Right. It's also not the bare minimum. Like it's not doing emotional labor for somebody else. It's about love is about being able to look at ourselves and say, I love myself so much that I will only accept what I give to myself as what I receive from others. And if we don't love ourselves very much, then we're not going to accept a lot from others. And so therefore we're
Mhm.
going to get stuck in those, I'll take the bare minimum because that's the bare
Yeah,
minimum I'm able to give to myself.
right. The status quo.
Yeah.
Well, and then status quo's down here.
Hmm.
Now it's like, um, I have been single for years now.
Hmm.
And so I'm picky. My
Hmm.
standards are up here. If
Yeah.
you can't meet these standards, then no, you cannot be a part of my life.
Exactly. It's about saying, can you bring peace and increase the peace, or are you going to take from my peace? And if
Yes.
they take from my peace, then nope, there's the door. You can walk out over there. I don't need you. I'm happy alone. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are so afraid of being alone because they are. filled with abandonment and
Mhm.
neglect wounds, and then they don't know how to love themselves. And it's like, if you really love yourself on a deep level,
Mhm.
you're okay with being alone. Not that we are meant to be alone. We're humans are, they're
So
creatures of community.
correct.
However, it's more of a, am I willing to stand for the way of being disrespected or being mistreated just so that I'm not alone? And I've come to the place, what sounds like you've also come to that place. I was like, no, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
let someone disrespect or mistreat me just because I don't want to be alone. I am just fine with my friends that I've cultivated,
Mhm.
that are family, my animals, and if and when the time is meant to be for me to have something in a more romantic or intimate
Yeah.
sense, it'll show up.
It will. And the thing is like there was for a long time for me questioning, will it show up? Will it
Hmm.
show up? And
Yeah.
then I remembered, you know what? If it's meant for you, you won't miss it.
Yes.
It's not something you're going to miss. You can delay it because
Hmm.
of your resistance, but
Hmm.
it will still come in.
Yep. That is so true. That is so true.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting close to the end of our time. Do you have any other insights around dark nights of the soul that you've experienced or learned for yourself or others?
I mean, when it comes to dark nights of the soul, I feel like the biggest part of it is just having grace with ourselves, understanding that we were built from a very young age with all these thoughts, these beliefs, these programs that are really not even ours. And so we have to deconstruct them. And the only way to do that is to go through a dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
And
Lean into the pain.
yeah, so and pain is change, pain is growth, because that catapults us into a new step.
Yeah.
And it becomes a I it gives and not, the biggest thing I can say is, don't give up when you're so close to the end. A lot of people feel like they feel like they're in this tunnel, and they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I've come to learn that the moment you choose to give up and sit down is right on the other side of that. The tunnel is
Yes.
going to exit, right? That light's
Right.
going to show up right at that next step.
Yeah.
But it's just in that moment where we're at, we can't see it.
Uh-huh.
And like, if you give up, then you're going to get stuck.
Right. Yeah. It's like walking through the tunnel with your head down. You keep walking, and finally you're like, I can't do it. And so you sit down and finally pick your head up, and you're like, holy crap, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's just so expansive, and I'm just right here. I can walk any way, and it's I'm gonna run into beauty
Mhm.
or opportunity and
Yeah.
all this stuff.
Yeah, because we become narrow and tunnel visioned, and we don't see, we'll get our eyes and blinders like a horse. And then it's almost like you have to be like, oh, I looked up, and
Hmm.
look what I didn't see right in front of me because I was so stuck looking down here and it wasn't in my peripheral. And then I can look up and, oh, there it is.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the the moment of transportation. I mean, it kind of is energetically if you
Yes.
think about it.
Yeah.
But transformation, yeah, that spiritual awakening,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
that is the cusp of it where you finally got to the pinnacle of that mountain and
Yeah.
can see, and now going downhill is so much easier.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's the start, the
Yeah.
click
Yeah.
into a spiritual awakening.
It is. And it's one of those things too. It's like, if you think about birth, there's always an ending and a beginning.
Correct.
Like, and that's how it is with the dark night of the soul. There's always going to be a beginning and there's always going to be an ending. It will not continue on forever, because that is
Mhm.
just the law of
Right.
like how spiritual universe works. It will not continue. Everything, it's like seasons, they have to change. It's just,
Hmm.
you get the opportunity to allow it instead of resisting it.
Right. And that's the point. That's the big lesson here, guys,
Mhm.
is to allow it, is
Mhm.
to lean into your shadow, lean into the situation, and and just move through it in what feels right for you.
Mhm.
It may be challenging, it may be chaotic. People around you are going to just be like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Mhm.
But on the other side of it is it's worth it.
Mhm.
It's worth it.
Really is. Yeah.
So Good luck, guys. And if you ever need any help going through a spiritual awakening or a dark night of the soul, you have me and Chandra here to help you out. Okay? All right. Have a good day, guys. Bye.